Hi everyone, I hope you guys have had a great week. I wanted to take just a few minutes to go over Chapter 3 and hit on some of the high points from your reading, and then also provide you with an overview of two of the assignments that are due for this week. So Chapter 3 talks about language and how we use language to create shared meaning. And it also explains some of the misunderstandings that we might have along the way and some of the causes for those misunderstandings. One of the things I think you'll learn this semester, and maybe you've already realized it or maybe not, but that communication is very complicated. It's not as simple as you just sending a message to someone, them receiving it, and sending a message back to you. Seems pretty simple, but it's not. There's a lot that goes on in communication. We've already learned about the perception process and what we actually go through as we perceive something. But then we've got to assign meaning to all of these things that we perceive. And that's where sometimes we have the miscommunication. So let's take a look at a couple of visuals that you can find in this chapter that give kind of a representation of what happens when we have this miscommunication. So the first is a triangle of meaning. And what this shows us is that there is a direct correlation to a thought that we might have and a symbol that represents that thought. There's not a direct correlation between the symbol and what our referent is, or what we're actually thinking about when we are trying to make sense of that symbol. So let me give you an example. If I tell my friend, I need a new car, we know the word car. We know that it's spelled C-A-R. There's very little dispute over the actual word car. Now, where we may have a difference is with regards to our referent. So I may think SUV, she may think sports car. I mean, there's so many different types of cars out there. Sometimes we even call a van a car when really it's a van, but still, it's kind of like saying Coke for all soft drinks. That referent can be very different. So if I say to you, I need a new car, we understand the statement. We symbolize that with the word car. However, what we think about as it references that symbol can be very different. Now, you can take a more complicated concept than car and see how this works as well. Let's say that someone tells you, I love you. Depending on that relationship, depending on that context, that could have multiple meanings. So if I was to say I love you, the symbol love, L-O-V-E, the word, we get it, but what it stands for can vary from person to person. The same with something like conflict. If you're in conflict with someone, there are people, and my husband's one of these people, who enjoys conflict, who enjoys having a heated discussion. That's how he grew up, with a lot of heated discussions in his house that turned to conflict. I did not. If there was conflict, there was something wrong. There was a problem. And I didn't like it. And I still don't like it to this day, but, you learn and you grow and you learn how to handle different things. But I was not a conflict-oriented or a debate-oriented type person. So if my husband and I, for example, were having a conversation that turned heated and we both saw that there was a conflict, we know that word, right? We know that symbol, we know that word, but our reference for it is very different. Whereas he may think, all right, good, this is going to be a good conversation, let's get into it. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what's wrong? Why are you mad? Is there a problem? Completely different referent to the symbol conflict. So this is, I guess, a visual representation of how miscommunication can occur. And essentially, none of these words actually have true meaning until we give them meaning. And sometimes that meaning or that reference is very different. Another symbol, or another visual, I guess, of communication and how it can create problems for us is this ladder of abstraction. And basically, the ladder of abstraction says that when we communicate, we gravitate towards certain levels of abstraction. The higher on the ladder, the more abstract or a higher concept. The lower on the ladder, the more literal or more concrete we are. And I think what's the main takeaway from this is you don't want to communicate from just one place in this ladder. So I don't want to just communicate with such high abstraction all the time because no one would ever really understand me. But then I also don't want to communicate at the lowest level of abstraction because not everyone needs that detail. So a competent communicator can go up and down on this ladder of abstraction based on who they're talking to and based on their relationship and the previous knowledge. I'll give you an example. So I work for a technology company. First Orion is a technology company, and I work with a lot of programmers and I work with a lot of data people. I work pretty closely with this data science team, and their job is to take in all this data that we know about scam callers and essentially make sense of it. They make models, they make predictions. They're very smart people. People who deal with this type of technology have a very conceptual way of thinking. They have to think that way. So sometimes when I'm communicating with them, they're a little bit more high level. They know what they're talking about. They know their acronyms. They can say a model name, and everyone in the room, pretty much but me, would know the details of what they're talking about. They can be highly abstract. Now, when I come in and have to develop training for them, I have to get them down to a lower level of abstraction. I need more details. I need to know what the model name means. I need to know what the letters, the acronyms that they use, what does that mean? So they have to be able to communicate on that ladder in various locations to be able to explain that to me. So here's a cute little, kind of visualization of this, I guess. Your book uses the example of the cow Bessie. This takes us from toy, plastic doll, Mattel doll, Barbie, and Malibu Barbie. So again, very abstract to very concrete if you're going from top to bottom. Excuse me. Think about the language choices that you make. Depending on who you're talking to, depending on your relationship with that person, what they already know, what you know, how abstract can you be versus how concrete can you be? Another good example of this is if you've ever played the game Taboo or any of the word games where you have to guess the word. And if you're playing with someone who knows you really well and you could just throw out one word or two words and they're going to get it immediately, no one else has any idea what you're talking about, you can be very abstract. But with the people maybe that you don't know as well, that you have to describe these words or these phrases, you may have to be more detailed because you just don't have that relationship. The key takeaway from this is be able to communicate at all levels of the ladder. You don't want to get stuck in one place communicating in a certain way. So again, a few things to remember from this chapter. Words don't have meaning until we give them meaning. We assign meaning to the words, to the symbols that we hear every single day. People talk to us, we perceive it, we go through that perception process in our mind, and we assign some kind of meaning to it. Now, effective communication means that you take the time to negotiate that meaning. You take the time to make sure that you and the other person have shared meaning. That can be very challenging sometimes, and that can take some time. But effective communication means that we are aware enough to know that I may not be perceiving something in the same way you are, and we may need to talk it out. Another takeaway is that language is powerful. The book talks about how we communicate our emotions, our credibility, we express our identity, we express our needs, our thoughts and observations. All of that is being done through our use of language. It is incredibly powerful. And I think we have a certain responsibility to use our language well and to the best of our abilities, to communicate ethically, in situations, and authentically. It's very important because what we say holds a lot of power. And my final thought here is when you think you are being clear, just be more clear. Okay, when you think that you are being concrete in your language, be more concrete, because the more clear you can be in your communication, the more you're going to have shared meaning. So that just takes into account a couple of the high points that I wanted you to remember. We will build on this as we go through the next few chapters. So it's important that we have kind of this foundational understanding of how we create meaning through our communication and some things that we can do to avoid miscommunication. So let's take a look at a couple of the assignments that you have for this week. So our goals for this week are to read chapter 3, watch this video, and then we have a discussion starter to complete. And it's this language and communication one. And you have 2 choices here. So you can pick one of these. You do not have to do both. So the first one relates to the triangle of meaning, where you get to pick an exchange you had in which differing reference led to a misunderstanding. And the key to this question is, what could you have done to prevent or correct the misunderstanding? And what I would like for you to do is apply one of our foundational communication principles to your answer. And again, that can be found in the survival guide. And the link to the survival guide is right here. The second option you have is to use the ladder of abstraction, take a common word or an object, and write its meaning in your own words at each step, from the most concrete to the most abstract. But more than that, I want you to talk about how the meaning changes as the words and ideas become more abstract. Why is it more difficult to define the word the more abstract it becomes? And again, include one of our foundational communication principles to support your thoughts about meaning in abstract language. So you have a choice. Again, you don't have to do both of these, just do one. And just be as detailed as you can in your response. 1 or 2 sentences is not going to cut it. We're looking at a couple of paragraphs here, at least. So be detailed in your response. And this week you will also need to respond to 2 of your classmates as well. So give something that will enhance their statement. Don't just say, hey, that's great, looks good. Give, some constructive thought to their responses. So that's the discussion prompt that's due this week. And then I also want us to go ahead and start preparing for your positive communication video. This is an assignment that will be due at the end of September. It's a video and written assignment, and we'll go over the details of that more next week or at the end of this week. I'll put a video out about more details about the assignment. But at the heart of the assignment, you're going to have to find someone who has positively influenced you and tell a story about that person. Something about their communication, very specific story, not generalities, but just a very specific story of where you have seen their positive communication at work. So for this assignment, I would like for you to go ahead and do some of the prep work for that. On page 20 of the survival guide is the full assignment. This is just a couple of parts of a preparation worksheet that you can do to start to organize your thoughts. So for this assignment, I just want to know who the person is that's positively influenced you and your connection to them. What is it about this person's communication that inspires you? And then give me some of the details of the story that you're going to share. And then I will give you feedback so that you don't get too far into the assignment and maybe it's not quite right or you're not looking at the right thing. So this is just pre-work. You can copy and paste this into the text box, type your answers however you would like to do that. But this will get us started on this first major assignment that will be due at the end of the month. So that's all I have for you now. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Always happy to help. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you.